Hello and welcome to the More Cheese Less Whiskers podcast. My name is Dean Jackson, and today we're talking with Sue Richey from Northern Virginia. And Sue and her husband run a very successful property management company. And this is one of those businesses that if you're fortunate enough to get it up to scale, you've got a stability of recurring revenue. You've got a base of clients who love you and kind of depend on you. And if nothing's broken, will continue to stay with you. And it creates a big opportunity in your after unit. And we spent a lot of time on our conversation about exploring the opportunities of expanding within the people that she already has, that they have under management. If we talk, and we made up ways to talk about the proprietary metrics that are available in the business, and very little time, but we did take some time to talk about the before unit as an opportunity for expansion. And this was two really great, foundational things that we got to talk about, and very applicable to any business with a healthy after unit. And I think you're really going to enjoy this episode. So here we go. Sue Richey.
Hi, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Very good.
Well, welcome.
Yeah, this
Where
is
are
great.
you calling from?
I'm in Virginia. I'm in the Washington D.C. suburbs. Just outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. So is it what's the situation up there weather-wise right now?
Well, I don't know. We had a weird mix of weather. We had snow the other day, but it's going to be 69 degrees this weekend. So
hey, perfect.
I don't know. I'll take 69 degrees. I like the snow, but I don't love the cold.
Oh, well, it's sunny and perfect here in Florida, just in case you were wondering.
Yeah. Where exactly in Florida are you again?
I'm in Winter Haven, so just outside of Orlando.
Yeah.
And this is perfect.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm excited to get to talk to you. So we've got the whole hour to hatch some evil schemes for you here.
Okay.
So tell me what's going on and what you think you'd like to focus on, and let's see what we can do.
Okay. Well, I know you talk a lot about. You talk a lot about real estate. You have done a lot of and coaching with people in real estate. So that is our background, and it's interesting because I learned about you through many of the people through Strategic Coach, and the overlap there with so many of the other people. So I've been listening to your podcast and listening to a lot of, and I have a marketing background and I love marketing, but we have been, so for the past many years in our business, been focused so much on the doing of stuff that I haven't had the opportunity to really focus on how can we grow it and how can we be really strategic in the marketing side of it.
Yeah.
So
yes.
that's what I'm focused on now, because we have built up a good team of people. They're handling a lot of the day-to-day stuff. My husband really oversees that team, and it's focused more on the operations, and I'm focused on the marketing and the growth for this, going forward. So
very nice.
So since 1997, I've been in the real estate business. Started out as a traditional agent, and my husband joined me in 2001. We were just rock and roll and we sold a lot of real estate. And during that time in the early 2000s, we started buying some investment properties of our own and learned more about the managing of rental properties. And then as the market started to change and the downturn started, more and more people and agents we knew said, hey, can you help my clients? Can you manage their property? So that's how we started. We're like, well, okay. So we took on a few, and it was kind of good as the market started tanking. There was a little steady stream of income. And
it's kind of
then
funny.
we got to the point. What's that?
I was just going to say, it's funny that almost every property management story starts out with we had a couple of people who said, can you handle this for us? And so, it's almost like you reluctantly got into the business, and then it just kind of snowballed from there, because now you do property management, right? And it's one of those businesses where it doesn't make sense to be half in it. You're either in it or you're not, right? So
100%. 100%.
You're in it all the way, right?
We are. And I don't think I don't know. You don't go into it going, "Ooh, this is like a glamorous business. Let's do property management, deal with all the headaches of everything." Because in real estate transactions, people are generally happy. They're like excited, I sold this or I bought this, and with ours, people are happy. But there's all
it's only bad news, right? Yeah, right. My tenant's leaving, or there's something wrong with my house, right?
Right. So anyway, you fast forward. Now we have over the years, we've bought a couple of other books of business from people, and my husband, Craig, stopped selling real estate completely and just to really focus, because they're very different things you need to know. And I still do a lot of real estate sales, as do many people on our team. Mm-hmm. So we do a mix of things, and they complement each other, because obviously we manage properties. People are like, well, I'm ready to sell. They know us, they like us, trust us, then we sell it.
Yeah.
So they definitely feed each other. And anyway, we have 8 employees. We're small. We manage just over 300 single family properties, no HOAs, none of that. So, and so now we're really at a place where we've been working a lot on the processes of the business. We have, like a system. It's really that, there's always improvements, but we feel like, look, we're ready to take on a lot of people. We're staffed to, with extra capacity. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to do that. I have a million ideas, and I'm trying to rein myself, focus on the things that will make the most impact, and then build on it.
Mm-hmm. So right now, a couple of things that kind of thwart people at that stage are capacity. Where do you think you are in terms of your capacity to take on new doors or new clients?
Yeah. Well, we definitely have the room. We're probably we're not overstaffed, but we absolutely have room.
Okay, so that's good news. So you're not like going to be scrambling to drop the ball when you get a lot of business. No. So it's a pretty simple model, really. I mean, here's how I think about it. I break it down to what's the radius around your office that you actually handle comfortably your clients.
We're probably, we'd like to stay a little tighter, but we probably go 20 miles.
Okay. So when you look at that, if you drop a pin in your office and go 20 miles around that there is some finite number of properties, right? And this is how we kind of think this through, that you have visible prospects, meaning that there is a knowable number of people who own investment properties, right? In that radius. And probably a good clue is looking for people who own multiple properties, right? Like that's all knowable. You can get you can literally scrape all the property records, the tax records, and find people who own multiple properties, which would be your probably best candidates, right? If somebody's got one property, they're probably less likely to have you manage it, or they're more difficult to find anyway, but be better for you if they had multiple properties. So do you have that list right now? Like, do you have
that's easy. Like you said, it's easy to get. I don't have it at my fingertips, but I can pull that at any time and just start to look for. Yeah, we've talked about this before. We've done little bits of, mailings to absentee owners, but nothing consistently. So to answer I don't have it now, but I can get it in, 20 minutes.
Okay. So when you, I get it. So when you look at it, that part of the thing is that you've got 300 right now properties under management, and you've got, what would be good for you to have a sense of is how many units are there potentially, right? Like what's the potential market size for this in your area? And is just so you know what you're kind of working with and how to budget or think about it, right? I always look for what would be the total yield of this, like when you look at it, that how do you how's your pricing structure set up?
We're just a percentage of the monthly rent.
Okay. And so
we have a leasing fee and a monthly.
What would be a typical monthly number for a client, like taking rents into consideration? Or what's your typical monthly charge per door? Yeah.
So our average, our percentage wise, it's between 8 and 9%, but our monthly average management fee is about $109, just over $200 a month per unit. Okay,
perfect. So, and that's a factor of that you've got high rents in the area where you are, right? Yeah. So that means that you've got $2,500, say, per client per year. If you look at it. And that's the kind of business that once you get someone, as long as nothing breaks, they'll stay and stay and stay. What's your average tenure? Do you know?
Well, at least, I don't know what the average exactly is, but it's usually at least 3-4 years. We've had people as long as 10,
so that's
years,
that's 10. Yeah, there's $10,000, and then do you measure your return on your portfolio in terms of how many buy and sell transactions that ends up? Like, do you help people if they say, hey, we want to expand and we want to buy another property, or do you just do the seller side?
No, we do definitely have sold additional properties to current owners.
Okay. And do you measure that? Do you measure the return on your portfolio? We'll call it return on portfolio, in terms of the number of sell or buy transactions you do from that group of people? Yeah.
I mean, we've tracked the sales, but it's, I haven't put that into any sort of,
metric.
ROI number. Yeah.
Okay. So that's one of the things, so I would look at, we're coming at this from two sides, right? The after unit, if we talk about the, dealing with the people that you've already got under management, that they're just, your communication with them is going to provide 3 possible opportunities: that they buy more properties, that they sell any of the properties that they have, and that they refer somebody. Do you get referrals from your clients right now?
We do. We give them an incentive. We give them a free month of management fees if somebody signs up, they refer. So we do get some. We just have to keep that. We have to keep that in front of them because they don't remember.
So how proactive would you rate yourself on that after unit, communicating with your with your 300 right now? In terms of, I know you said that you do get people who sell and you do get people that refer or buy, but is it primarily that they come to you, or is it, would you say that we're doing something to stimulate that, or is it just happening?
We're not doing enough to stimulate it. I want to do more things. They'll have a conversation with one of our property managers, and they'll say, "Oh, you should talk to our team," and then they know, the property managers know in advance because they know we're not going to re-rent, or they bring it up. But, so
they say, once this one's over, we're going to, rent,
Yeah, but we do a quarterly newsletter, which is an email newsletter with video, with some other things, and it's there. But again, people have to read it, and we don't. That's
right.
There's much more than that.
Okay. And do you send them a statement or any other, like if I'm one of your clients, your property's under management, what level, what kind of communication am I getting from you over the course of a year? I get your quarterly newsletter. Is that physical or email?
It's an email through MailChimp.
Okay.
They get, every month they'll get a notification. They have their monthly statements. We try to send I think we have a reminder on that email.
Yeah.
That's changed over time, of the referral process. So there's that. I'm working on, and that's about it from proactive stuff. I'm working on an email series that I want to tie to, as people sign up, tied to their the point in which they are with us, like over the year. Right.
Okay. So I would look at that as opportunity number one. Like, let's say that, you've got, I'm going to say, because it's do you have a sense of how many transactions you did in the last 12 months, buy, sell, or referral from that group? What would it be?
I do. We just looked at this today. We went through our numbers. So over the past year,
yes,
from our database, we sold 9.
Okay. So if we say 9,
it was a lower year than.
Yeah, and what would it be a year before, or if you stick the last 3 years, what would be a typical?
Yeah, the year before was 11, and I believe the year before was a little bit more than that.
Okay, so if we take that let's call it in the middle, 11 out of 300 is about a 3.6% return on portfolio. I'm going to put that out there as a metric for you. Okay.
Yeah.
So right now that means that your return on those 300 people was, and imagine the commissions are pretty high in terms of the price range of what they're selling or buying. Do you have the number of how much money that actually amounted to?
No, I don't have that. I don't have that number in front of me.
So if we say your average transaction would be 20,000, is that fair? Or
it's because we give these people a discount as our. I'm going to say it's going to be more in, like, let's call it like 12,000.
Okay, so so 125,000, say, is what that yielded for you. Okay. So there's plenty of money. There's plenty of money there right now, taking your sort of, I would call it the minimum approach, right? That's just in the normal thing. So what I would be looking at is, how could we take some of that money, just a very little amount, when we're talking about 300 people, to mail something, every month to those people, even if it's a postcard summary or something postcard, that let's say you're going to budget over the course of the year, let's call it $20 per door for mailing to them communications over the next 12 months. That's going to give you a $6,000 expense, which if it increases your return on portfolio by one transaction, you've doubled your money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So it's a very high probability, low risk thing. And if you take it again, that and it's coming from, you're already playing with house money on that in a way that that it's already coming, because you're not spending any money to get that 120,000 now, right? Other than being awesome
Mm-hmm.
people like you, right? So
mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, our challenge.
Yeah.
Are you talking about something like physically? Our challenge with physical mail is these people are all over the world, and
I understand, but you can hire a uniformed government employee to track them down and deliver something right to them for $1. You know.
Right.
And we've got agreements with all the other governments that they'll take it at the border and track them down on their end.
Yeah.
Pretty good system.
We can get there. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And we have to just figure out what that is and what the message is. And that's where I struggle a little bit with.
Right.
Okay. Ooh, okay. All right. So I agree. Our current database is a good opportunity, number one, for all of those.
So when you look at that, especially when there is, especially when they're international or out of the area, right? Like when you're their lifeline back to, like, I imagine it makes a lot of sense because there's probably a lot of government people. There's probably a lot of, people with international companies that are based in the DC
Washington,
area there. So So when you look at that, having this lifeline to their property there and to the market there, that makes a lot of sense. Now, if you were to look at your 300 and kind of do some sort of scoring or categorizing, there's probably people that you could put as higher probability for one thing or another, right? Like who owns the most properties of the 300? If you got somebody, it's not 300 individuals, I'm sure. You've got somebody who owns multiple doors, right?
Yeah, the most somebody owns is 6, and that's an overseas client who owns a handful, or maybe it's 5 they own.
Yeah.
But, we have a couple of people that own 2, but the majority are single own one property.
Okay. And so if you went through them and you kind of looked and just eyeballed them and thought, what would be the next thing for them? Like you probably know a lot of them, or your team would know who they are, to be able to say, okay, this is somebody who's probably at the beginning of their investing career, that they're going to be building a portfolio of properties, right? If you were to categorize them as a building client, somebody on their way up to, this is their first property, but they're going to advance and get more, versus somebody who they lived in the area for years, they got an opportunity to go somewhere and they're renting out their house for 2 years while they go take a contract somewhere else, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That they're not an investor. You're truly just managing their property while they're gone. That there's some of those people that they're not investors per se.
Yeah.
So the thing that might happen for them is that they may have been testing the waters over there, renting out their house while they see if they like it. Then they decide they're going to stay. Okay, we're going to let go of the house now. Or we're coming back, and they're going to move in and live in the house, right? So having those sort of categories among those people will be a beneficial thing for you too, right? To have kind of the opportunity tags for them.
Yeah. And I'd say that the majority of our people are the second, because we have, like, for example, a big portion of our database are foreign service officers. These people, they're good clients because they want somebody to manage their property. They tend to have higher dollar properties. They're usually gone for 3 to 5 years, and then maybe they have another posting, so they don't come back. And oftentimes they will sell, or they'll move somewhere else. They come back and don't move back into that property.
Yeah,
so
it's like monkey bars, right? They keep their hand on one. Yeah. Keep their hand on one while they're going to the other, right?
Yeah, because in Washington, our prices are so high, and we peak. It's really hard to make cash flow here. So
Sure.
This is a hard market to be just a true investor. Unless you you can buy cash. We don't have a ton of those in our database. Really, it's more of the second category.
Okay.
So
perfect.
I feel like the referral. I feel like it's probably, yes, we've had a few people who have purchased other things, but the majority are going to sell with us. If they sell, that's what we want, as opposed to somebody else, and refer other people, other foreign service, other people who are posting, and they all talk. That's a big, tight network.
So perfect. That's really good to know.
That. Yeah.
So what we want to look at if I were going deeper into your after unit metrics here, that return on portfolio for you is going to come into those three categories people who bought something else, people who sold a house, and people who referred you somebody, right? And if we look at each of those, what do you have a sense of how many referrals you got from that 300?
I would say probably a handful.
Okay. And it's good. So when you're looking at this, good to, and I know it's the first time we've talked about it, right? But having this awareness now, if you go through and look, it's easy for you to see, because I'm sure when you're doing your intake of a new client that you're noticing where they came from, right? You're sourcing them, so you can recreate it here for the last 12 months. But when we look at the referrals here, what we're really looking to do is to get to a situation where they are reflexively thinking of you whenever they hear somebody talking about property management, right? Like, so I don't know whether you've heard me talk about that all referrals happen as a result of conversation. And in those conversations, for you specifically, three things need to happen. They need to notice that the conversation is about property management. Now, it's not, hey, we're looking for a property manager per se, which is one overt thing that could happen, but there's all the peripheral things, adjacencies to that, which would be we're looking into a contract in London for the next 3 years, or we're looking to go over here, or we're looking to explore our options, or we're going to travel, or we're going to, all of those things that might be the cause. And they might think that the conversation is about that, but since they didn't say we're looking for a property management company, that thought doesn't trigger a thought of you.
Yeah.
So we want to presence that for people, where that if they hear someone talking about, is there a popular place that people will take a contract to, or take or go somewhere? I mean, is it to Europe or London or Middle East or?
Yeah, it's kind of everywhere, really.
Okay.
A lot of Asia.
Yeah. Okay. So whatever it is, what we want to do is that, going overseas would probably be a good one. Yeah. So that would be the blanket term for there. So if we could program all 300 of your clients, because of the circles that they run in, and especially the ones that are in that situation themselves, right? Of your 300, there are some that are exactly in that situation. That if we were to say to them that, just a quick note, in case you hear someone talking about taking an overseas position or moving overseas for a few years, that you're sort of bringing it around to the property management thing, but not it's not specifically spot on that, because I imagine that the people that do refer you, if somebody says to them overtly, hey, who do you guys use to manage your property?
Yeah.
And they go, oh, Sue Richey, she's awesome. That they'd be more than happy to say that when prompted. But in that same conversation of, hey, we're thinking about going over to, to Europe for a few years, that might not stimulate a thought of you, especially because, not that you're not awesome, but that you're not on their mind because you're really not in communication with them.
Yeah.
Honestly, right? If you're doing your job right, they're not thinking about you.
Yeah, right.
Right? I mean, that's that's the reality.
Yeah.
It's your job that their mind is clear. They don't even think about that property, right?
Right.
So we need to presence you in their mind because they're definitely having those conversations. When those conversations come up, what would be something that would be very useful that you have that you could offer information-wise that would be helpful to them? Is there some special tax treatment information? Is there some special rules? Is there some, what are the kind of questions that people have for you when they are inquiring? Because I imagine it's somebody who's been living in the house for years and now they get this opportunity and they don't want to let it go. So it's the first time they've ever rented out the house. And what are they concerned about? What are they asking you about? What do you know that they need to know?
Yeah. So are you saying something that we could provide to this?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, if that's, something that could be that if what we're looking for is something that your client could get for somebody that would make them look like a hero, right? That would give them the glory. Because the last thing that we want to do, we're not going to say to your clients, hey, if you hear someone, tell them about me and tell them how great I am. Don't forget to tell people how we can help them, right? You turning them into a salesperson for you. But what we want to do is you want to be a resource for them to help their friends. And that's the real reason that people refer. The real reason people refer anything is because it makes them look good and feel good. So we want your clients to feel like an insider.
So are you saying, okay, so yes, I completely agree. So are you talking about something like, say, a physical, like a document that they have that is kind of here are all the fears you have when you think about renting these or things, whatever, or 10 questions you should ask a property manager. I have a number of different lead magnets I put together. I also have been building up our YouTube channel with videos and content focused all about questions landlords have, issues that come up.
What would be the I was looking at what would be the title of the book that your clients would definitely want. Like, if you think about, somebody like Dave Ramsey, with his book Financial Peace, what would be, is there the kind of thing of, property peace or something? What do your clients really want while they're gone? Is they want that peace of mind that we've got this kind of thing, it's like, And so when you say to somebody like that just a quick note, in case you hear someone talking about going overseas, a lot of people, the new year, they get these new opportunities. And if you hear someone, talking about this, give me a call or text me. I'll get you a copy of my property piece book to give them, which shows how to have peace of mind when you're overseas and your property's staying here.
Okay.
That kind of thing. And I'm just, you know, what I just did for you is like the outcome, but you would spend an hour or more even just thinking about what the right words would be for that. But that's the tone of it, right? That we want to resonate with, oh yeah, that's exactly what I want. And that would make them feel like a thoughtful, a thoughtful friend. That's what so now your client calls you instead of having your clients tell everybody else to call you and you not know about it. What's way more valuable is if your client calls you because they already know you, right? So it's much easier to get your client to call you than, because I'm sure you've had situations where you run into people and they say, oh, did Jason ever give you a call? I tell people about you all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and yet you don't hear from them, you know? So we want to make sure that you get notified when they have one of these conversations.
So you're saying, so if I put an ebook together, for example.
Yes, I think that would be a really great thing, because it's all about encouraging the people to to refer you when it's to introduce you. It's not even really about referring you, because we're not using the word referral. We're using introduce as the thing, right? We want that for every, this is the things that have to trigger is they have to notice that the conversation is about property management or something related to that. They have to think about you, and then they have to introduce you to the person they were having the conversation with. That's how a referral happens, right? So I imagine that the referrals that you did get were probably either 80% a person calling you up saying, I was just talking with Bob and Judy, and you manage their property, and they told me to give you a call because you could probably help us manage our property. That's probably 80% of those phone calls that you get, right? And then the other 20% would probably be, Bob and Judy calling you and saying, hey, we were just talking to our friends Mark and Connie, and they're moving over to Europe for a couple of years, and they need someone to manage their property. I told them all about you. You should give them a call. Right. So that what we want to do now is we want to orchestrate more of that, right? We want to do it where if you every month are presencing a different high probability conversation like that, that would be a valuable thing,
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. And so you're saying you wouldn't say I put this together, or you wouldn't send this out to them all at once.
No, you want to send. Yeah, you want to send. You want to send it to them so that they can, when they hear the conversation, they can ask for it, and then you'll have something for them to give to. Because now you're in conversation with your client who already knows you and likes you, and you're talking about their friend, and you're able to say, well, what's their situation? Where are they doing? Would you like me to just send it right to them? Or would you like to do a 3-way email and introduce us, and I'll send it there? Or should I call them? You're now in conversation about the best way to collaborate to make sure that their friend gets the best help that they need.
Right. Okay.
And we want to do that. And, a great goal would be that we can raise your, if we set a target to raise your return on portfolio to 10%, that would be, 30 transactions from that instead of the 11, Yeah. And that would make a big difference. That's the first
lowest hanging fruit opportunity that you have, least expensive.
Yeah,
and
well, then
probably
one of the things
most valuable.
Trying to do with this, with our current database, is sorted in looking at who are our top 20 people, and whatever that criteria is, whether it's dollar value of their rent, or they just, I get it, I trust you, whatever those factors are, and then figure out, focus on them, but also figure out how do I duplicate those people within our database. Because we haven't done much of, we started just recently doing quarterly updates for their market value of their property, not for rent, but for sale, just so they know, they have no idea what's going on.
That's exactly right. And they may see, wow, prices are really going up. If you're doing like the whole Northern Virginia market snapshot kind of thing, it gives them a sense of what's going on. And they may see, prices are starting to slow down here and kind of go backwards. We might be smart to sell now and get ahead of it rather than wait, right? Yeah. And that's kind of, I think that is going to be valuable on a lot of levels,
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that we've been doing, but I like this idea of this, creating this sort of book, because this is a good lead magnet anyway, but it's also it's really something we can give people, because it's all the same questions. I have all the material. I just need to compile it all together into
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So I agree. So I want to use that as strategy number one, but then look at other ways and figure out what sorts of things I could mail to them on a monthly basis that's of value.
Yes. You only need one. You need one thing. The same format where you're, I think what would be good. How many, if you say of the 300, how many are far away? Like what percentage would be either, out of state, let's call it, out of state?
Oh, probably 85%.
Okay, so that's great. So maybe what it is you're doing a snapshot of what's going on in Northern Virginia kind of thing. It's like a sentimental or just staying on top of what's going on in Northern Virginia over the course of the, while they're gone. And that's kind of because I'm sure if they might be getting homesick kind of thing, or feel good about what's happening, and the market snapshot kind of part of. Think about the postcard as like a modular type of layout. That you can have different departments in it, and then. But what would be the most important is that we have in email, one of the things that we talk about is your what I call your super signature. And at the end of every email, you see it from me. It's probably the reason we're here on this, is that in every email, I say, whenever you're ready, here's 4 ways that I can help you, right? And number 1 on mine is be a guest on More Cheese Less Whiskers. So people click on that to get the info on how to be a guest. And then what I'm looking for you would be, what would be the triggers that somebody might start them on the path of their next step,
Yeah.
Like what would be the 3 most common reasons somebody might call you, or how do they start the process of, moving forward here?
Are you saying, what sorts of triggers can we put at the bottom of our email? Is that what you're?
Yeah. At the bottom and on the postcard. So, but these triggers will be like, I call them cookies, right? As opposed, so we're saying, rather than just saying to people, if there's anything you'd like to eat or drink, there's lots of stuff in the fridge, just go ahead and ask me kind of thing. We're saying, we're baking the cookies and saying, would you like a cookie, is so much more likely to get a positive reaction, So if somebody is thinking about selling their property, probably the first thought on their mind is, well, how much is it worth right now? Is that how people? I can imagine that somebody might call you up and say, hey, we're kind of looking at our options here. What's our house worth now anyway? That's probably it, right? Like, how's the market doing? What's the place worth?
Yeah. So I think at the bottom, I think using our tool, our CMA tool that's automated, we can definitely include that.
Okay.
I would also want to direct them to our YouTube channel, which I'm continuously building up for. My focus really is about non-managed landlords, or just self-managed landlords, I should say. There's a lot of content and a lot of information there. And that would certainly help somebody look at us and who don't know us and think of us as experts, or find things that they could pass along to other people. And I guess I don't know what else I could. That would be maybe the download of this ebook.
That could be. Like whatever just thinking about whatever the triggers would be for someone, what their, so finding out how much their property is worth would be one, potentially, there might be some people within there who are investors or may think about being an investor. Talking about buying properties or buying investment properties, that might be a good thing if they want to keep money in the U.S. rather than, to keep their investments there. It's a solid thing. So that might be a way of thinking about it. But you're on that right track there. And then if you want to, there's so many opportunities around that. But if we want to talk about your before unit a little bit too, that it's really truly a numbers game in that you have knowable, visible prospects, in terms of if you want to expand the investor management side of it. Or do you want to stay specialized within the sort of while you're away manager?
No, we really want both of those kinds of people. We just, in our market,
because it doesn't matter to you. You're doing the same thing.
Exactly. It doesn't matter.
So it would be an advantage to have that.
Yeah. So you're saying before these people become clients, that's what we're talking about now.
Finding new clients. Like everything, I was just looking at the clock, that everything that we've been talking about for almost an hour has been specifically about the opportunity in your after unit. And I see that as a real legitimate way to go from 11 to 30 transactions in that group. I think without even batting an eye, I think that's what your possibility is there, which would bring, that would be an additional, be a lot, right? An additional $250,000 for if capitalizing on that. So it's not, it'd be worth some investment in doing that.
No, I agree. Yeah, for those two reasons, for increasing the sales, so that return, but then also the referrals. But while we obviously the dollars in the revenue of sales is important, that also means we lose all those clients as management clients. even though we've made money, but we still need to be figuring out ways to be adding new management clients, because the more we have,
absolutely, yes, and that's why selecting them, when we talk about profit activator number one, is selecting a single target market. And I've been talking a lot lately about this idea that the misinterpretation of it, or the fear that people have, or the approach that they're taking to profit activator one, select the single target market, their resistance to it is that they're afraid to narrow their focus because they're trying to keep themselves open so that they can be selected. Right. And there's a difference between having your options open so that more people will potentially select you versus what I'm talking about proactively is let's select a single target market, which would be all of the people who own 2 or more properties in the 20-mile radius around your office. That's a knowable number, right? And if you do that and you have that list, all of those people right now have properties that are under management in some way. They're either managing it themselves and it's a headache and a hassle and they wish that there was another solution, or they're managing it with another property manager who maybe dropped the ball or maybe has some negative experience on it. And it would be very easy to woo them.
Yeah.
It's not difficult to woo them when you're communicating more with them than the incumbent, right?
Yeah.
Like we look at your, if somebody really started paying attention and loving up to a lot of your clients, there might be a good chance that they're wooable because you're not communicating with them, right?
Yeah.
And so that leaves it open there, and we didn't even talk about the saving the attrition of it as well, you know?
Right.
But when you look at it now, so let's say that there are 1,000, and maybe there's more, probably more, 1,000 people who own more than 2 units in that 20-mile radius. That now you're focused on those people are going to go from, some people may have 200 doors, which would be a professional investment, group, or some people may have just 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever it is. And communicating with those people, especially if they are out of the area, right? Like a difference again, you look for your really high probability list. I would look to get the 1,000 best prospects, meaning the ones with, probably not the ones with 200 doors or 100 doors or, that probably have a professional management system, but the ones who have, 2 to 10 properties that are out of state as opposed to being local. And that would be the highest probability, I think, focusing on those people and then thinking about what would they want to know? What would be what can you do to educate those people or join the conversation that's going on in their minds right now that are addressing the pain points that they have,
Yeah.
Or the opportunities, even if it's just in terms of the selling, like offering them the information on the market of their place. Do you manage multi-unit properties?
We don't really have any.
No.
In our database, no.
Is that something that
we don't have it.
No, is that what I'm saying? Is that something that you would want to expand into, or? like small multi being 4 to 6 or
fourplex. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's that's definitely an avenue we've looked at. Just really scrub this list and how do we find them? The other, so this is like more geographic in looking at the number of properties versus another market for us, which I mentioned was this foreign service group of people.
Yeah.
And trying to really
how that's going to be, if it's foreign service people, especially if it's government, they're going to have they'll have you'll be able to tell from the address, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So if they, when you look at this, if you start with the big data set of everybody who owns 2 or more properties, and what we're talking about now are subsets of that, right? So subsets meaning some of those are going to be people who own duplexes, triplexes, quads, that multi-family properties there. And you would approach them differently than the people that own multiple single-family properties.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's really about, because that's the good news about the visible prospect and being able to narrow your focus like this is that you can target the messaging through postcards because you get the physical tax address of every one of these properties. And if you're mailing a specific thing to all the triplex owners and you're offering them the report on Northern Virginia triplex prices,
right?
Nobody else is offering them that, and they own one, and it's going to be fascinating to them to see what's going on.
Yep, exactly. And I have and I thought about a postcard campaign. That's one of the things on my list this year to try to reach all these. Who knows whether they're managing themselves, whatever they're doing, but by giving them resources and content and again directing them we've put together a whole list of a la carte services, so even if some of these aren't ready for full service management, if they're not here, maybe they need a good thorough property inspection, maybe they need to they need leasing, so I have all these other parts to it, and I want to start to introduce those, and again writing up a lease or just anything, like if we just broke it apart.
You look at that, your catalog of services, that's all the during unit things that you can really embrace to create a total, frictionless dream come true experience for them.
Yes. And if they're going to manage, it's fine. And then one day they might be like, you know what, you're doing all this, why don't you just take it over? Again, just I keep coming back to YouTube because my goal is to just keep directing people there with building up the subscribers, building up an email list, but also because I have some other ideas in the future for these kinds of people. But then we're in the front and center. They'll get my videos every week. And
and this is great. That one of the things that you can do that we've been working on now is, those videos. We've got a way now where you can send, I'm calling them video postcards, where you can send a digital variable QR code that you can send. You have the screen cap of the video with the title of the video and the description of what it is, and a QR code where the play button would be with the instruction of just, hold your camera over this and watch this video. And you would know each individual person by address that opened the video. Right. So that's like a brand new development that is, you're on the right track. Content is the catalyst here. That'll give you more options for communicating. But that's, I think you're right on. It's very cool. The delivery stuff that we're able to do now is amazing.
Is that a new
it's brand new. And so I have been developing this with my postcard guys, that there's nobody else doing it. So this is a cool thing.
Well, that is cool. Okay, so you think direct mail and you think postcard are effective?
Well, I think direct mail, whenever you've got visible prospects that are high probability and high value, that direct mail postcards are the most addressable thing. If you don't have somebody's email address, which would be a great thing, you've got it for your 300, which I love, but you don't have it for your all of those prospects, So we want to do the direct mail so that you get their email address, and now you can communicate with them that way too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But the fact is it's a knowable number, right? It's the same 1,000 people. And I use 1,000 as the placeholder for however many it actually is. But it's the same 1,000 people that we're trying, 1,000, dream prospects.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. No, those have been things on my list. I like the idea of really focusing first on within our current people. We probably have a lot in there that we just aren't doing much with, but
so much opportunity, Sue. So much.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
all right.
Fun.
Well, yeah. I mean, I realize, we just break it down into little chunks because this is really good and it's been very helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just have to create these messages, and even with these, by looking in the database and identifying all these people and breaking them down into subsets, people who own multiple properties. Then I've just got to come up with a campaign that a campaign that will.
But it's totally worth it, Well, you didn't have to hang up on me like that.
I know. I don't know. I tried to stop that from
Why'd you have to be so hurtful? Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
I thought we were getting along.
No, I know we're ending our time now, but that didn't mean to do that. But yeah, I appreciate all the suggestions, insight, and I know you know this. I know you know the real estate business. Would you do a lot of consulting with real estate people, or you were?
I do, absolutely. Yeah. This is that's the thing is like I have a particular love for real estate because it's how I got started, and what I learned marketing was applying it to my real estate business, right? And that's really the thing. But then having so much experience in all the other types of businesses that take that aspects now and bring it back to how it applies to real estate is even more amplified, But you've got a perfect opportunity there. So awesome. And the good news is you're doing really well. When you got 300 doors already, you're not just getting started in the business, and you've got the capacity, right? Most of the people that starting out don't have that opportunity.
Yeah, I do. I mean, that's definitely true. We have capacity. We have a good base, but we kind of have been stuck here at this level for a number of years. We add, you naturally lose some because of just people move back or sell or whatever.
Yeah.
But we need to push past this. I just want to
That's it.
Hard.
Well, you can't same your way to different. So we got to different your way to different. And that's, that's the thing is doing some, just breaking down these opportunities, but there's certainly a doubling at least of your after unit stuff available, you know, and then that'll fund all your before unit stuff. So it'd be good. True. I think, if you can and are available over the spring here, I do my 3-day breakthrough blueprint events, which would be a perfect next step for you, actually, because you're in the point where you've already got the opportunity. So I do 3 days in Celebration, Florida, and it's like exactly these conversations in a boardroom with 10 other businesses, but we're going deep on the before unit, the during unit, and the after unit. So we're sharing all of the strategies there, but using your business as the amplifiers, you know? So it's a good way to get your blueprint mapped out.
Okay. And what's the name? What is it called again? Blueprint?
It's called the Breakthrough Blueprint.
Breakthrough. Okay.
Yeah. I'll get you the detail. I'll send you an email with all the details. Okay. But that would be the perfect thing for you.
Okay. So you're coming out of that workshop of those 3 days with sort of a roadmap.
Yes, exactly. Your action plan. Because, we look at what we were able to do in an hour. Imagine 3 days of that on the whole aspects of it. That's really what you come out of there with is clarity and action steps. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I will look for that, and I will take all of this and digest it and start moving forward.
Perfect. Well, that was great.
But thank you so much. Yeah,
You're
me
welcome.
too. Thank you. All right.
Okay, I'll
Happy
talk
New
to you
Year
soon.
to you. Okay.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
And there we have it. I love having conversations like that where there's so much opportunity just with even the people that you have right now. And I think that, looking and defining the metric of, return on portfolio as a metric to measure and to watch, both in terms of the repeat business that they get and the referrals that they get. And I think we came up with some really great opportunities to expand those opportunities. And then for a lot of businesses, what we talked about in the before unit is applicable to any business that has visible prospects. When we laid out the 20-mile radius, the opportunity that is sitting there is those visible prospects, the people who own properties that they're not living in. And specifically, if they own 2 or more, it's probably somebody who needs some help with the property management. But those, however many people those are, and it takes a little effort to get to that list. But whoever those people are, those are your visible prospects. And it's just a matter of being in contact with those specific people for the long term and trying to turn that into a relationship when they're ready and being there at the right time. So lots to glean from this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll come back for next week.